Wave 2 is here. We got 2 new products. You guys love the first series Cyberzone so much, we decided to make some new color variations just for you. We also have a brand new design for the winter season, where we have our second series, Winter 0. And this time, it comes with different colorways right off the bat. The new drops are now live on the AVAULT store right away for pre-order, so be sure to check it out. Both new drops have single and 2-player versions as well. Even with the BT13 GeoGreymon restricted down to 1, it still doesn't stop from Marcus from punching through the ban list. Okay, for Digi-Egg cards, I am running a yellow base this time, and I'm playing 4 copies of the BT12 GeoGreymon. When one of your yellow or red tamers are suspended, you get to sort of minus your opponent's Digimon by 1000 DP for the turn, which is really good. It happens once per turn. We are suspending a lot of our tamers because Marcus punches and suspends, so then we always get to synergize with this. And I'll also go through more why specifically we're running the yellow base this time. But as we go through our rookies, we still want to be playing 4 copies of the BT12 GeoGreymon, which searches, potentially getting your 2 hits, getting a Marcus, getting anything that's Greymon related as well, and it's inheritable, minuses 2000 DP to your opponent's Digimon whenever one of your red or yellow tamers becomes suspended, which is also really handy dandy when you synergize with that particular Coromon too. Then 4 copies of the BT13 GeoGreymon, just because it lets you sort of push out your Marcus for free and turn it into a Digimon alongside with other effects without having just to rely solely on the BT12 one to come up by itself. And also you don't have to pay memory with this one, which is really, really good, especially when they come up from raising, or you can even hard slap it and then push out with a Marcus there, which is always really good. This one has also inheritable of your turn once returned. When one of your yellow or red tamers becomes suspended, you may delete one of your opponent's 3000 DP or lower Digimon. The fact that it can be you can sort of like rack it up and sort of like sequence it at a different timing so you can pop something afterwards once you reduce everything down to where it's DP low enough as well. Now, moving on to why we're playing the yellow base, I'm just going to jump into the other yellow main cards that we're playing. 2 copies of the BT14 Patamon right here. It's just super good being able to search your security, Digivolve, and Turbo through. It's just very great early game value overall. Same for Kudamon. You generally want to be hard playing it to search and find your pieces at the same time, and both these cards are just super good, especially if you're playing the yellow base, and you definitely want to include, which is what I'm going for in this particular build this time. Let's move into our level 4s now. Playing 1 copy of the BT13 GeoGreymon, which is still one of the best cards for the deck, being able to play out Marcuses from your security, recover 1 as well at the same time. That's what is really mainly there for. And yeah, you definitely want to be playing 1 no matter what, for sure. So we gotta fill in with more other GeoGreymon cards. So right here, I'm just deciding to bump up all the way to 4 copies of the BT12 GeoGreymon so that we can sort of like take advantage of not having a Marcus in the early game, Digivolve into this, and immediately play a Marcus from our hand for free, which is always great. And it's inheritable of minusing 2000 DP, exactly like the BT12 GeoGreymon. Is also just really, really good if you have already a Marcus established. Otherwise, as you're building through your stack, you can keep minusing your opponent's stuff. Minusing DP is a very strong removal for this deck overall, which is why it's really, really crucial. Then I'm just rounding off with 2 copies of the EX4 GeoGreymon this time, gaining a memory if you have a red tamer at the start, and then you get to draw a card with its inheritable when one of your red or yellow tamers becomes suspended. So, you know, just really good, but you don't really need a whole lot of level 4s because we got tons of search cards, ton of cards that can keep up the consistency to make up for it as we get into it as well. So let's talk about our level 5s now. 4 copies, of course, of the BT13 GeoGreymon still for sure, because when you Digivolve, you play a Marcus for free unconditionally, just so great. And of course, all turns, once per turn, when one of your Marcuses would be deleted, instead of going to the trash, you get to recover it back to your security so you can keep a good cycle of it. Is the whole reason why you definitely want to play this one as much as possible. And then for the secondary GeoGreymon, I'm playing 2 copies of the BT12 one, which can Digivolve for 3 on top of GeoGreymon specifically, otherwise you Digivolve for 4, just like the other one. Now, when Digivolving, if you have a red or yellow tamer, you get to gain a memory back. Sometimes you Digivolve into this guy for free, and you get a main memory back just from its when Digivolving effect. It's all turns, and once per turn, its inheritable effect is exactly the same as the BT13 GeoGreymon as well, letting your Marcuses sort of stay alive, which is always really good, and you're keeping a consistent cycle of it as well. And then last but not least, to round up for all level 5s, 2 copies of Rise-Way X is just really good. Again, Digivolving for 1 on top of Rise-Greymon specifically is what you want to go for, so they can play out a tamer for free as well. And you get to minus 2000 DP to your opponent's Digimon for every tamer that you have as well, to further reduce things, remove things, weaken things. They can swing over it even. And it also has that your turn effect of getting extra 1000 DP for every tamer you have in play as well, which comes up every now and then if you want to swing. If you have a lot of Marcuses on the board, then you can make it really, really big and strong too. That's that's it for all the level 5s. Let's talk about our level 6s. 3 copies of the BT12 ShineGreymon, which is definitely your main boss Digimon that you always want to get into because it gives your Marcus's security +1, extra 3000 DP as well. And when you Digivolve into it, you can minus 3000 DP to your opponent's Digimon as well for every tamer you have at the same time, being able to like delete things with that DP reduction, remove things, and gain that aggression mainly is really what it's there for, to make your Marcus's extremely explosive when it comes to their punches and finish games very, very quickly. Other than that ShineGreymon, I still like to play at least the 2 copies of the BT13 GeoGreymon instead as well, just because you can't always push out your Marcus with the BT12 one only. You definitely want to sometimes push out your BT13 one itself as well, because it can't come out itself, whereas this ShineGreymon does kind of like the same thing as that Agumon, lets you move that Marcus up to make the attacks. It also can further reduce your opponent's Digimon's DP by 6000 when you do suspend your Marcus, or you can go for defensive play to make your Marcus a blocker instead if you want to go for that, but usually you're attacking with your Marcus anyways, and because of that then you can really heavily control the board and move things, and gives you really good control when you need to get into it there too. But that's it for all of our level 6s and ShineGreymons. Let's jump into our level 7s right here. I am actually going for more of a Ruin mode base control sort of style of this particular deck, which is why I'm actually playing 3 copies of Ruin mode right here, right now. Because of the big stack decks and the wide decks currently in the format, you want to stop them from coming out from raising by minusing the blanket 5000 DP, and it makes it hard for the opponent to come out and sort of one-shot you, because you can buy yourself a turn with it. But not only that, it can also delete anything after it attacks at the end of the tag and get to recover, hatch an egg all at the same time. It's also just really good with dealing with wide boards all together. And that's why I really like the whole yellow base and going to Ruin mode overall. But if you guys don't have access to this or looking for a more budget version, honestly, the red base, which we'll talk about later on as well, alongside with the ShineGreymon burst mode, is still relatively strong, still a really good one that you'd actually majority most people are opting in for. We'll talk about more in a bit, but I'm just trying to showcase a Ruin mode version of the deck just for funsies, so definitely switch it up based on your own personal preference as well. That's it for all of Digimon. Let's talk about our Tamers, where we only have Marcuses. Of course, still 4 copies of each BT12 of the Marcus right here, being able to sort of Digivolve for free, make itself come out by paying 1 memory as long as you have an Agumon or Greymon at the start of your main phase. It's just really, really good. So they can attack, Digivolve, all that. You know, this card is incredibly strong. And the same goes for the other one, the 5 cost one, being your memory tamer, being able to suspend minus 3000 DP to your opponent's Digimon, gain a memory back potentially if you have an Agumon or Greymon in play as well. Really great security bond if it comes out too. Really good removal, minus 3000 DP like we saw earlier. Again, racking all that up together, you can remove a ton of stuff because of how good they really are. So 4 and 4 is definitely a must no matter what. So now let's talk about our options. I'm playing 4 copies of physical training right here and 2 copies of offense training overall. The reason why we're just prioritizing more yellow than red, just because we are playing a yellow base instead. If you're playing a red base, you want to flip this vice versa, 4 offense training and 2 physical instead. Some of you guys might be mad lads and want to play 4 and 3, totally up to you guys. But this card is just so good, and it basically compensates the lack of GeoGreymon from the BT13. It doesn't matter anyways. You can get into a level 4 for free. You can get into a level 5 for 1 cost. You can even get into a level 6 just for 1 cost by using these cards. And then alongside where you pair up with your BT12 4 cost Marcus, you can just turbo Digivolve so quickly and insane. And that's one of the best things about this particular deck, because you have access to both red and yellow colors. Utilizing both colors of the training cards is just absolutely insane and bonkers totally overall. And then last but not least, I like to play 1 copy of Yellow Memory Boost. I am running a yellow base after all, and just in case sometimes I want to search a little bit deeper and find some pieces, this is still a really good card to also get into. So you guys can switch it up for more offense trainings or other training cards. Totally up to you guys when it comes to that. Okay, so other choices and cards that we talked about earlier, of course, if you're looking to be playing a red base instead, which is actually somewhat arguably a bit more consistent, it's just based on different personal taste and play style, which you like. There's a brand new BT14 Koromon, which is actually really good. Now, instead of having to swing with the BT5 Koromon just to draw 1, as long as you remove a security from your opponent's side, you get to draw one anyways. And you're doing that with your Marcuses in most of the time, so you don't have to use your Greymons to sort of like chip away or sort of swing in order to draw one. A little bit more safer, but you know, it's just based on your personal preference on which Koromon you like to go for, but definitely BT14 seems to be the way to go for now. If you're playing red base, definitely include Agumon X Antibody as well, because then you can Digivolve on top of your Agumon, search for more stuff. That's really wanting to do it. Hard play it as well. Not having X Antibody, not finding it's not really that important. You're just trying to find your Greymon related cards really with it. And like I mentioned, because if you're running the red base, if you don't want to run any rune modes, you can just opt in for burst modes all the way instead. Entirely, because burst mode with the combo with Marcus is still really strong, trashing security, punching for game. That's really like sort of the aggressive way to do it for sure, which honestly for any competitive setting I definitely recommend going for the burst mode instead anyways there too. So speaking of ShineGreymon burst mode, did you guys know we're going to be getting a ShineGreymon burst mode ace card in BT17 Secret Crisis? And if you guys are ShineGreymon fans and can't wait to see what that deck does and all that crazy stuff, I'm excited as well. Definitely be sure to subscribe, turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. I'm also going to be working on EX5 decks early on, so definitely join the AVAULT Club if you want to see what I've been cooking up for deck lists, ready for Nats format and all that jazz. Definitely be sure to join, and I definitely appreciate the support from all of you. As for other options, if you're playing yellow base back like this particular build, I think reinforcing memory boost is just really good. I would like to include that as well because it gives you so much value. Recover, add, and search and do all that stuff, and delay 3 memory. It's just absolutely bonkers too. For other removal stuff, you know, more archetype built in, I think Shining Blast, Sunrise Bluster, you know, these are still really good cards if you want to have some security bombs and remove your opponent's Digimon as well at the same time. Dealing with whiteboards is really good, but if you're dealing with whiteboards, and if you are playing a red base after all, Crimson Blaze is probably the way to go to pop anything that's a lot more wider, a lot more value, 6,000 DP or less, everything's basically wiped out. And you get to reduce its cost usage based on how many opponents Digimon that they have on the board too because of that. Alright, combos. Let's talk about ShineGreymon and how to play it. More or less, it's still very the same as BT13. You're trying to go for like the big stack, and then you go for Marcuses as you're building together from Agumon all the way to ShineGrey, take out all your opponent's security. But when it comes to your opening hand, now is a lot more different because you have a lot more consistency and searching cards to help you go through it. So definitely you want to see your rookies, Patamon, Agumons to search, Patamons to Digivolve. These are some ideal ones you want to always be seeing. Your training cards, these are really, really important because they help you find your level 4s, your level 5s, and your level 6s, and of course your Marcuses. And the reason why training cards is just insanely good is because they can also grab you your Tamers as well. So right here, you always Digivolve and hatch your egg. You can Digivolve into Patamon or Digivolve into this Agumon here at the back. That's usually what I like to go for because with this particular Agumon, I just want to hard play and search, potentially get my 2 targets to find my GeoGreys, my Rise Greys, Shine Greys, and my Marcuses, and set up with whatever you have here. Now, ideal stack when you push out with Patamon, fantastic. You search your security stack and you can Digivolve into any of these GeoGreymons because they're all yellow and vaccine, and you can get into it immediately. You get into this GeoGreymon early in the start and you don't have a Marcus in play. You get to play one immediately from your hand. Otherwise, the BT13 one is the way to go because you can search your security stack and play another one out there, cheat one out, really great. And then your third one that you want to get into is this one in particular, which doesn't give you as much value because you can rather just Digivolve and stay in raising, come out where you have a Tamer instead with that particular one. But again, very simple and straightforward game plan. If you can see a way and a line to climb up all the way up, you just go for it, right? Potentially you just want to Digivolve into your Rise Grey, use your offense trainings. Ideally, you do want to make sure that you can Digivolve here and you climb through your stack, and then you can potentially even get into Rise Greymon X eventually, and then you go into whichever ShineGreymon you have at the time when you want to go for it. Because this ShineGreymon for BT12 synergizes very great with your Marcus Daemon, because once you start your turn, you just pay 1 memory, you come out with it, you swing, and then you can immediately just Digivolve into this for free, and then you get to minus a bunch of stuff to your opponent's Digimon right there, depending on how many you have. You get to resolve all your effects, minus more DP. You know, right here, Patamon gains a memory back if you ever, you know, go for that GeoGreymon play earlier on. And the Koromon extra 1k DP does come up sometimes to help you hit magic numbers to remove specific Digimon that your opponent has on the board when it comes to sort of like getting rid of it as well. Anyways, the Marcus Daemon swings with 2 checks just like that. And you just want to rinse and repeat the same combo. Play Marcuses again, and when you have, sometimes when you don't have this particular Marcus, you might have this Marcus. This is when you want to go into the Shine Grey. So you decide and sort of play how you want to use your training effectively, during what turn, at what point, when you turbo Digivolve into it,
and then this can immediately push out your Marcus. It becomes a blocker, otherwise you can actually attack with it, gain a memory with it because you have a Greymon in its name as well, minus something with 3000 DP, minus another 6000 DP with this one, and then resolve all the other inheritables as you rack it up, which is very, very, very simple. As you're going for it and continue your combos, you're gaining a lot of memory during your turn as well at the same time. If you ever do want to sort of swing your ShineGrey, you can definitely go for it as well. But if you want, depending on the matchup, if you want to stop your opponents from coming out from raising or just clear board, then this is when you get into rune mode to stop and slow down the game and delete everything off the board, which is very, very simple. Very straightforward game plan as per usual. You do want to see your Marcuses, which is very, very important. And it's one of your most reliable pieces, which is why, again, like I mentioned, these training cards are super crucial because they can find them potentially, and you just want to juggle for your stack that way instead. Sometimes I also really like sort of going into this Agumon right here. When you're ready to push out, you pay one with this one, and then you can use this one effect to bring this one out as well. So you have two Marcuses, and you can swing and swing and then swing for game even, just like that, doing so many checks, so much damage, barrage of punches, again, non-stop, and just continue to do so. Another neat thing is sometimes if you ever go into this GeoGrey, or if you go into like sort of this Rise Gray as well, you know, being able to sort of gain memory back and then sort of like keep your Marcus afloat with all the Rise Gray effects is always fantastic. But let's just say, for example, you Digivolve into the BT13 Rise Gray here, you can definitely rack up these different inheritables. I ideally sometimes like to go for this kind of play when it comes to this Agu, GeoGrey, and then Rise Gray setup. Go into this one, play this Marcus, suspend it, minus something by 3000 DP, gain a memory, minus another 1, so that's 4k in total, minus another 2, which is 6k in total, and then afterwards you can delete something that's 3000 DP or less with the Agumon, so you can effectively get rid of a 19 body just from that. And then if there's still bodies on the board, you know, then you can continue to go into Rise Gray X and even either ShineGrey to continue to minus further DP and continue to swing. Also, the turn when you get into this ShineGrey, make sure you also swing with it, just because your opponent's security is weakened. You know, if they don't have a lot of bombs, knowing your matchup is really important, and you know it's safe to swing in, definitely try to take as much advantage as you can to attack and go for it, and just like that. The other card you definitely want to be seeing sometimes in the early stages of the game is this Kudamon, which we'll talk about, where you just want to hard play it to search as well to do the same thing. Find your pieces, they're vaccine. Everything in your deck is basically yellow and vaccine, which is related, which is really good. And then search yourself with the Tamer all at the same time. And that's sort of how you juggle. Very, very straightforward game plan. Once again, you build up your stack, utilize your trainings, reduce costs, go into Marcus, Digivolve for free, swing for game, just like that. So be sure to check out the gameplay to see this new version updated of ShineGreymon and the consistency it brings thanks to all these new cards that we added in right here, right now. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video. And this is AVAULT signing